Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new episode of Waveland Park. And I have to tell you guys, I am obsessed with this park. It is so much fun and I have a surprise for you. I extended the river's edge once again. well, yeah, as I said, I'm just so obsessed with it that I couldn't resist to build another great habitat for an animal that I never built a proper habitat before. I only did it once in my panoramic series, but never built a standalone habitat for them. So it is definitely time to play with the capybara. And where could they better fit in than right to our giant otters that we built for in the last episode. But before we start with this week's episode, I have something to say to you guys that I usually mention at the end of the video. So guys, if you like my videos, don't forget to hit the like button. That is the button with the thumb up, not the thumb down, the thumb up. Okay, not that you pressed the wrong button. Yeah, and also if you like my videos and if you don't want to miss any future episodes of Waveland Park, Arizona Adventure Park, Swamp Lake Zoo, my zoo tours, the baking videos, or whatever, all the content on my channel, just hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing to my channel doesn't cost you anything. That only means that you will have easier access to all the stuff that I have on my channel, that you will get notifications if you want to when a new video is out there. So that's all. So if you like what I do here and if you want to see future episodes as well, just subscribe to my channel. Okay, so but back into today's episode. We are building a great habitat for the capybara. So the first thing that I did is something that I saw Simply Savannah doing. I'm pretty sure you guys know Simply Savannah. If you don't, just look for her at YouTube. She does great stuff in Planet Zoo, builds great habitats, has so much knowledge about the animals, as she's working in a zoo as well. So definitely check her out. I'm doing something that she does as well, and that I have seen in one of the last videos as she built for the aardvarks. She uses those faux trees, those faux rock trees, to build some backdrop for her habitats. She uses them in a different way. I think like putting them upside down. That is something that I did not do. So I put them down in I put them down correctly. I might call it. And then I put some of the faux rock in between to make it look a little bit more interesting. We're also coming to that point in a few minutes. I also put down some of the roots that we have in the game to make it look a little bit more jungly and overgrown, and once again I'm mentioning it a little bit more Disney style. So building it so natural, so over the top natural, that you can see that it is that is not real, so that it is some kind of art. And that's why I'm also using much of the faux rocks in all the builds in here, just to give it that kind of Disney-ish style. The habitat is quite big. And that is because capybaras usually live in groups, and they also can live in very huge groups with almost 100 specimens. And so I decided I want to have a big habitat and where the animals can have offspring and can have lots of babies, and yeah, I hope that is going to happen in the future. Once again, like all of the habitats that I am building here in Waveland Park, this took me a lot of time because I love taking my time by building this. I have to confess, it is exhausting sometimes, but in the end it always pays off. So yeah, that is something that I can give you as tip as well. Just try to take your time by building stuff, and especially when you build in sandbox mode, where you have all the resources that you need and all the time that you need. Just take your time and make that little effort, because it really pays off in the end. You might notice when you look at the habitats that I built in Arizona, for example, and you compare them to the habitats that I built in here in Waveland Park, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. Okay, it's a different park as well, but yeah, it is just a big difference. So what I wanted in here, and what I already did for the giant otters as well, is I wanted to have a different watercoloring, because I wanted to look once again natural and Disney-ish. So I wanted to give it this Amazon River feeling, and a little bit swampy, dirty and jungly, and yeah, so I also put in those root pieces that we got from the Wetlands DLC. Yeah, it was the Wetlands animal pack, which look very cool in here. And I also recolored the waterfall that we have in here and gave it some greenish color. If it looks a little bit too green, I'm very sorry for that. Just let me know in the comment section and I might change it a little bit. As I might have told you, I don't think in Waveland Park, but definitely in Arizona, I have a little bit of an issue with colors because I'm color blind. Although I don't think that colorblind is the correct word by describing that, because people that are colorblind usually aren't colorblind, because by telling someone you are colorblind, that implies that you can't see color and you only can see black and white. But that is not the case, because I can see all the colors that you can see. I also think that I see it the same way as you. I only have problems to to find the correct word or the correct. I don't know how to describe it. I think I see the colors the same way as you do, but I have difficulties to differentiate if some things are green or brown or whatever, and yeah, that's the only difference, and that's why I'm having a hard time sometimes building those habitats and changing color to items, because I don't see if these are brown or green, because they look so similar to me. Well, okay, I guess then I don't see colors the same way as you do. Indeed, yeah. Yeah, here I'm mixing things up a little bit because I'm not only using the faux rocks in a gray color, but I'm also using the tropical natural rocks to mix the whole thing up a little bit, and I think it really looks pretty cool. And yeah, so what I wanted to do here as well in this big habitat and with those walls of the faux trees, I wanted to have layers of the habitat. I wanted to have the animals being able to move away from the eyes of the visitors, and I also wanted to have our guests being able to see the animals from different perspectives. So if you walk around the habitat, you will always have some different perspectives of the animals, and you might see the whole habitat from a different view when you watch it. For example, on the top of the habitat, where the habitat for the giant otter and the habitat for the capybaras touch or are next to each other. So that's what I wanted to achieve in here, and I also wanted to have I also wanted to have an indoor area like we have for the giant otters, but I don't want our visitors to be able to see the indoor habitat, so that we have the illusion that there's only this outdoor habitat for the animals. So that's that's how I made it happen with those tree walls, and in the end, the whole indoor area, the whole stable for the animals disappears in front of the eyes of the visitors. You can only catch a glimpse of the stable for some time. Just excuse me, my cat wants to come in. Just a second, please. So I'm back again. You might have heard her in the background. She seemed very angry because I wasn't fast enough to let her in. Yeah, sitting here in the office, and the cat many times comes in through the window, and she wants to come in and walk through the office and then go to the living room. So I had to open the window and let her out from the office and close the door again. So yeah, sorry for that. I hope you guys don't mind it. Yeah, as I said, the building for the capybaras in the background disappears in front of the eyes of the visitors, so they only can catch a little glimpse of it. For the building, I tried some things out. I deleted those wooden pieces later on because I didn't think they looked that nice, and I also thought, why put them there when they don't have any use? Because yeah, our guests won't see it and our animal won't be able to use that stuff. So yeah, just delete it and put some of the other wooden pieces that we got from the conservation pack on the top of it to give the whole thing something like an air system, some circulation where fresh air can come into the building, and then do some decoration with some wooden beams and put a roof on it, and that's it. in a later stage, you will see in the end of the video, I also put in some bedding for the animals so that the animals definitely will go in there and have a nap from time to time, so that we have a little bit of movement in here. Also some advice for you guys when you build habitats for your animals, especially when you build big habitats and you want your animals to use the whole habitat and go everywhere. You can do that very easily. I think I never mentioned that in Waveland, but in maybe in my other in the other zoos. Yeah, if you want to have your animals use the whole habitat, just put the enrichment items, not all of them close together, but put maybe the food enrichment items on top of the habitat and the toy enrichment items at the bottom of the habitat, so that you will automatically have some movement in here, because your animals have to go from A to B to use those items. So that's a little advice when you have bigger habitats. Yeah, you already can see where we are going with this. We also have to close the river section for our capybaras and for the caimans that are going to be on the other side of that habitat, because we don't want to feed our caimans with the capybaras. Would be quite natural, but yeah, we don't want to display that in our zoo. So I decided to put some mesh fence in here, close that up with some of the metal beams once again, which might be my favorite building piece. And yeah, close it up as well on the ground, so that our caimans can't swim underneath the whole thing, like you can see here. Okay, that would be too small for the caimans to swim through it, but yeah, but we still had to close that gap. Yeah, and now it's time for some fencing. Here I stole the fence from the flamingos, because I thought that would match. Yeah, that would match very, very good in here for the capybaras. And we don't have to have a high fence in here. First of all, because the capybaras are not very dangerous to our visitors. So there's many zoos that have walk-through habitats with capybaras, and I never heard of zoo visitors that being hurt or killed by a capybara. So yeah. And yeah, on the lower part of the habitat, as I didn't want to put down these pieces all around it, because yeah, we have so much elevation in the lower part, I used to put in some glass indoor fencing and just put some wooden planks on top of it, and also some of the temple stone pieces at the bottom of it, to make it look a little bit nicer, and also to make the whole thing look a little bit open and yeah, not too closed for our animals. Yeah, building in Waveland Park is very exhausting sometimes, I have to be honest with you guys. So that is also why there's only a new episode every 2 weeks, because yeah, those habitats take a lot of time to be finished. So this habitat alone took me about 4 or 5 hours until it was finished. And I don't want to build habitats in this park feeling the need I have to do something, or feeling the pressure of finishing something just to have a new video for you guys. I want you to have a great video. I want you to have a great habitat in that park. So that's why I take my time on this, and I don't present a video all every week. And I hope you guys appreciate that, and you see the work and the effort that I put in here. As I said, it is pretty exhausting sometimes, but in the end it always pays off. So there's not a single thing in this park that I don't like. As I said, all the stuff that I'm building in here takes quite a lot of time to build, but I really love how the whole thing comes out, and I can't wait to finish this park one day and have someone do a tour to this through this park and show you the whole beauty of it in its entirety. Yeah, and this was also the episode where I finally found out what I did wrong with those barriers. I had something selected in the settings that made it very difficult for me, or that I always had those barriers built underneath the ground, and that was so annoying, and I didn't have fun to build those barriers anymore, because it was just exhausting, and they often were just miles away from the actual habitat. And I finally found out what the problem was, and I'm back in the game. Well, so we are quite close to finishing the whole thing, but there's still some work to do. So what we still have to do in here is put down a lot of plants and trees and bushes and grass and stuff like that, and also make the background look a little bit nicer and a little bit more overgrown and jungly, and still have the habitat not too much of a look like a forest. So what I'm often doing is, when you want to have something like a forest or jungle feeling, just put a lot of plants in the background, right behind your habitat, so that it looks like it is somewhere in the jungle, but the actual habitat is not too overgrown, so that your guests can see your animals. So that's some advice that I give you when you build some of these jungle habitats, or also some of the wood habitats for wolves, for deer, or whatever. Put bigger plants in the background or behind the habitat barriers, so that you have this forest feeling, but actually your guests are able to see your animals. And you can already see what I meant with that. So there's not that many big trees in the habitat, because also they would provide lots of shade in the habitat and make the whole thing look very, very dark. So no matter which time of day you have in the settings, it always will look very dark, and you don't want that. So leave the space a little bit open. What I also wanted to have, what I'm using very inflationary, I hope that is a word that I used right now, what I'm using so many times here in Waveland Park and also in my German series in Swamp Lake Zoo is those sunshades that I always build. Yeah, just because I found out how easy it is to build them. I think, yeah, if you're interested in it and want to see it in detail and in a slower pace, then let me know in the comment section, and I will be happy to do some classroom, yeah, for building this stuff. So I will teach you how you do that very easily, because it is, yeah, it's not witchcraft. It is very, very, very easy to build something like that, and I think it has such a huge effect on your buildings. So that's what I'm doing here. When I finish the sunshade, I'm also copying it around and put another one on top of the habitat, so that we have two different viewing areas for our guests. These are very pretty because they provide some shade for the guests, but don't make the habitat look darker. So yeah, it's something like a nice viewing gallery, and also something like a little bit of a protected space for our visitors when it might yeah, when it might rain or something. And it would also be, in real life, it would also be a great place for visitors to make photos of the animals, because the lighting would be very perfect. Very perfect? Is there something like very perfect? So perfect and very perfect? I don't think so. The lighting underneath those shades would be perfect to make photos of the animals, I wanted to say. Yeah, the whole thing would also need a little bit of support. I might go in there off cam after I did the voiceover here for that video, because I noticed that yeah, a little bit more of support would be needed for the whole thing to make a little bit more sense. So yeah, as I said, I might go back into that after this episode. Yeah, and once again, the next episode that is going to come out for Waveland Park is coming out in about 2 weeks. So you guys have the chance to tell me what animal you want to see next. We could continue with the South America stream here, and yeah, with the Amazon River, and could build the habitat for the caimans. Just don't know which ones I'm going to use, the spectacled or the dwarf caiman, but I think I'm going with the spectacled. Or if we are going to finish the top of the river's edge and building across the bridge and building the habitat for the beaver. So let me know in the comment section what you want to see next. So is it the beaver or is it the caimans? Yeah, and we are almost finished. Here are my custom signs. We're going to have a look at them in a few minutes when we're going into the real-time part, when we're having a look at the whole habitat and our animals in normal speed. I still have so much fun with building those custom signs, and yeah, I just love it. It gives the whole thing such a personal touch and changes the whole thing so much. And I also love to combine those bigger signs with the animal statues that we have in the game. And once again, I'm very, very, very sad that we don't have those statues for every animal, and we don't have the signage or the same signage for every animal that we have in the game. That would be so, so cool. So Frontier, if you're listening, give us something like that, please. Yeah, but we are finished with the habitat. I also put in some animal enrichment items. As you can see, we have a melon right on top of the habitat, right close to the guests, so that I'm hoping that our animals will go there through the water and sit right down in front of our guests and have have some refreshing melon. And I'm really, really, really happy with how the whole habitat looks. Yeah, just let me know in the comment section if you guys like it as well. I also put in some of the special effects for the fog. Yeah, to give it a little bit more of the Disney effect. And here you can already see some of our inhabitants, and we're going into the stable for the animals. Not much going on in here, just a little bit of bedding for the animals that they will have a reason to go in there. Yeah, and now we're going to have a look at them from the visitor's perspective and having a walk around the habitat. And I think I might leave you guys alone with the animals and with our visitors here. Just enjoy the view of our animals, and yeah, I hope to see you guys in 2 weeks when we are going to build the next habitats. As I said, for the beaver or the caimans, just let me know in the comment section. So guys, have a great time, leave a like, leave a subscription to my videos, to my channel, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye!